Potentially, psychedelic drugs could be for psychology what the telescope became for the science of astronomy.
In the right set and setting, with the right kind of psychotherapy support or religious support or whatever the context of the support is, and most importantly, what the person's intention is when they take it. If they're an addict or an alcoholic, they can take ayahuasca, they can take peyote, they can take these substances, and it will definitely help them to get over that. And in the case of something like ibogaine, it's even more specific. I mean, there's other things going on with ibogaine that might interrupt the addiction syndrome on the physical level.
For many people, actually, who were alcoholics and things like that, many have been cured by their use of psychedelics. So in some ways, it's the opposite of addiction.
Entheogens actually are almost the opposite of an addicting drug, in that sometimes a person will only take an entheogen once and have a very powerful experience and actually be freed from some other addictions or habits that he or she might have. And in fact, in some ibogaine research, an African drug called ibogaine, people are being taken off of heroin and alcohol with some good success where other methods have failed.
I discovered ibogaine pretty much 11 years ago on the internet back home through a friend of mine, which I gave a treatment. It was heroin. He was heroin addicted, so I treat him with the root, because I never use ibogaine for detox. No, I always use straight root. So when he went back to his country, that's how he learned about ibogaine, and he sent me an email. I'm like, whoa, oh, that's very interesting. So ibogaine is an extraction from iboga. So you take the root itself, you do the extraction, and it became the first like a total alkaloid.
Ibogaine is very effective at treating certain kinds of addiction, opiates, methamphetamines, cocaine, and alcohol.
Ibogaine has 5 different therapies that we basically became aware in their use. One is an initiatory aspect, which is the psychospiritual, where you get into the deepening dreaming aspects, but you have no active addiction in the body. The second is for physical healing, things like herpes, asthma, lung problems, blocked energies in the system, scar tissue. Then there's also a mental treatment for disabilities around depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, trauma, sexual abuse. Then there's a reset therapy that we do with alcohol, cocaine, and methamphetamine. We separate that because those substances need to be out of the body for 24 to 72 hours prior to treatment. And then there's opiate. And in opiate detox, we can begin 12 hours after last administering of an opiate, and within 45 minutes it will completely control any symptoms of withdrawals.
I even do the healing for, let's say, for women who doesn't wanting to have kids, and let's say they try in hospital, and the doctor there say, you can't have kids anymore. But the woman is normal. It's like nothing's missing in the tummy. Why she can't have kids? I do the healing of that iboga.
Something that's been discovered recently by Dr. Deborah Mash and others is that there is a new neurotransmitter created in the brain after taking ibogaine called noribogaine, and it can stay in your system for up to 4 months. And that's the substance that they theorize is continually working on your psyche to make that reduction of cravings stay in place, so that over the long term, you have time to break out of that cycle of addiction and become a new person.
Not only is it address the symptoms of withdrawals and discomfort, but it also works in the craving center of the mind. So the individual, by the time they've completed treatment, has no desire whatsoever within a 10 days to 2 week period to touch opiates.
See, that's pretty much the reason why I'm here in the West. I didn't just decide to come here. I love my country and we really peaceful there. Life is also great like here in Mexico. I would not just like leave my people, whatever I were doing, my family, just to come here to hang out. Now, I had a call from the Spirit to spread the roots, the word of the root, iboga, which is like them talking with ibogaine, to spread in the world, because it's not just for Africans, it's for anybody who needs it. If it was just up to me, I would just like, okay, let's go from city to city, clean up the streets, clean up the houses. We're gonna find those guys with drug addict. We're gonna find them and heal them all. Because that's the only way. That iboga and ibogaine is a last call for anybody who really wants to get help. You don't have to spend like thousands and thousands of dollars or spend months in a clinic rehab and go back tomorrow and using the drugs. No, it takes just a couple of days to get it, and I'm ready to do that. To help anybody who wants to take it. Just one decision. That's it. That's all it takes.
But the thing is, I've also known many people who take a lot of psychedelics and they're heroin addicts, they're alcoholics. It hasn't helped them a bit. So, honesty behooves me to say that. This is not a miracle cure for addiction. All these things can do is like open up an opportunity for the person to examine their lives and resolve to change if that's what they want to do. But it won't compel them to change. It's not going to force anybody off drugs. It's like a lot of other techniques for treating addiction, talk therapy or whatever. They work in some people and not in other people.
Since it's illegal in the United States, the only options that an addict has is to go out of the country or to do it illegally in the United States. And there are some people in the United States who are treating addicts illegally. They're breaking the law by healing these people. However, most people go to other countries to take ibogaine. I personally, went to Mexico around the Puerto Vallarta area with an organization called awakeninginthe.dream.com. And that was a great experience for me. And the people there were super nice, and it was in a setting that I think was beneficial to the ibogaine experience. In other words, it wasn't in a clinic, it was in a house, and I was with people who were very experienced at doing this, and I felt completely safe. But there are several clinics in Mexico doing this. Some of them are just right across the border in Tijuana.
And there's lots of clinics around the world that will take your money and give you ibogaine. They've never taken ibogaine. They don't know anything about drug addiction, and they have no idea what that individual is going through in that process. And that just frightens the hell out of me. In comparison to what the model in the United States, this is not a return visit, a revolving door therapy house. We're hoping you can come here once, get rid of that addiction, and when you come back again to do more work with the ibogaine, if it benefited you, without an addiction in the body, because then you can go to the next level, and then you work to the next level. And this could be a real supportive, this isn't like going to meetings every day and believing that you're never going to be anything less than what you are. This confirms that you are no longer in the body energetically. There is no physical addiction existing in the system.